Man, I am gonna miss this series so freaking much. This was a series, in all honesty, I did not think I would come to enjoy as much as I did with this conclusion of Tanya. I'm actually sad to see this go. I really am. And I really hope one day, maybe 6 months from now, a year from now, a couple years from now, I do hope one day we eventually get a continuation of Youjo Senki, because I've had a fun time. I've had a fun time with the series. At first, I was only watching it because of the main character, Tanya, and then over time, I just grew fascinated with the conflict with Tanya versus being X, and kind of how she's trying to stand up against this world, and stay out of fighting, stay in the rear line, and then eventually she stands up and pretty much gives being X the middle finger at the end of this episode. So, I've loved this series from start to finish. Had a little bit of bumps here and there, but overall, I have enjoyed this series, and it's a series, honestly, I didn't think I would enjoy as much as I did. I thought it was going to be one of those series that I was going to have some entertainment, but it was eventually just going to kind of, whoop, straight down, and that was going to be it, and I was probably going to drop it maybe around 4 episodes in. I figured that's something I would do with this series. However, that did not happen. As you can see, I am here with the finale of Season 1 of Youjo Senki, and I gotta admit, I'm glad that I stayed this long. So, yeah, I guess we can kind of chalk this up as a sleeper hit of Winter of Anime 2017. I don't think I expected this series to get as big as it did, because if there's one series I see many mention constantly from this anime season, if it's not like continuations, like Season 2s and stuff, one series that constantly pops up every single time when, you know, people are talking about Winter of Anime 2017 is Youjo Senki. Everybody talks about it. Even some of my friends that barely watch anime talk about this series, and it surprises me by how many love this series. I'm like, damn, that's impressive. So, besides all of that, though, this episode, the finale of Youjo Senki, it screams two things. Either, number one, it's screaming, go read the light novel. This is a fucking ad for the light novel series. Just go read the light novel. That's one thing I'm assuming it's screaming. And if it's not screaming that, it's screaming a Season 2. Because the entirety of this finale perfectly wrapped up everything that the main season started with, like the main point of the season, the conflict with, you know, Tanya wanting to face up against being X, or staying in the, you know, the rear line to be safe for a while, and then now at the conclusion, kind of that got wrapped up nicely, and Tanya is taking the fight to being X, like, you know, throwing a middle finger, saying like, fuck you and all that, I'm coming in for you, we're gonna remove you completely, just declaring war on being X. And so, the conflict that was kind of set up in the earlier portion of the season was kind of settled in the latest episode, but then we have a new conflict that arises, which is now an entire world war going on. So I do like how Season 1 actually concluded a lot of the things I wanted from this series. Even though it didn't have the, you know, conclusion to the war, like the big war going on, it still concluded everything I wanted. And when it comes to this type of series, in all honesty, you're not going to probably get a conclusion because of what the plot is like. The only way you're going to get a conclusion is if the series really went all the way to the end of, let's say, the, you know, the light novel series, or it did an anime original ending and kind of concluded it right then and there. One or the other. And so I expected this series not to have a conclusion to everything. However, everything I wanted from the series, it did give me. So I am pretty happy when it comes to that regard. However, though, I will say one thing, though. When it comes to this finale, there was so much setup. Like, the entirety of the episode was for a potential setup for a Season 2. And I'm like, yo, why would you go that far for a potential Season 2? I mean, I know this was doing good, I just don't know how good it was doing, and if it really is doing that well for them to take the time to do all this setup for a Season 2, I'm like, I welcome it. I really do welcome it. I mean, they put a lot of effort in this episode to kind of show hints that there is a potential possibility for a continuation. I mean, you have it to where the war at the end, everybody's coming in to fight, every single country's going to be fighting now the Empire, and then you have Tanya declare her war against being X, and then you have all this, you know, like, talk and convo between the characters, and how they're discussing what's coming next and all that, and I mean, it was just like the calm before the storm, before everything just hit the fan, and that's what this episode was. It was just so much setup for like a next episode. This felt like an in-between episode to anything else, kind of like what you would see for a finale of, like, let's say an actual real season 1, ready for a season 2 about to come maybe in a couple of months, and that's what it was. I honestly expected to see like an announcement for a season 2, just because of the way this episode was written, the way it was done. I figured I was going to see a season 2 announcement at the end of the episode, which it didn't come, by the way, but still, I was like, whoa, why would they do this? Because normally anime companies, if they're trying to make an advertisement for, you know, the light novels or something, they don't usually go that far. They don't go that far to say, oh, you know, season 2's, you know, a potential possibility. They don't normally do that. So I'm just kind of curious right now if that's what their plan is. Like, they're seeing how the sales are for the series, if eventually they can dive in and make a continuation or not, which I do hope the series sells well, because I've had a lot of fun watching it, and when it eventually comes to the States and all that, like, you know, the BD DVDs and stuff, I'll probably pick me up a copy, because I did enjoy this series from Winter of Anime 2017. But, talking about overall, you know, my thoughts on, you know, Tanya, this series and all that, it was entertaining. I had a lot of fun. And I think that's all I really want out of a series at the end of the day. I want something that keeps me entertained, something that can make me just enjoy myself, sit down with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or whatever, and just relax, watch a good show, and smile, laugh, or whatever, just get into it. And that's kind of what this was. It was a series I always knew that I can get entertainment by if I sit down and watch it every single Friday, which sometimes these past couple of weeks it's been a little bit delayed thanks to Crunchyroll, which, speaking of that, that's something I do need to talk about. So, I don't know if it was just me, which I pray it was just me, because if it's just me, it's not a problem. But if it did happen to others, then that is kind of bad. Did anyone else notice in this episode, like I said, I hope it's just me that experienced this problem, but if you experienced it, let me know in the comments. Did anyone else have the problem where the subtitles were incomplete? And what I'm getting at is you'll hear, you know, characters talking, like Tanya will be talking, whatever, the generals will be talking, and then, you know, you see all the subtitles and stuff, everything's fine, but then all of a sudden the subtitles just are gone after one sentence, and then you continue hearing them talk, and there's just no subtitles on screen, and you're like, what the fuck are they saying? Like, what are they saying right now? What's going on? This happened like 2 or 3 times throughout the episode, and I'm like, what the hell? It, like, happened with Tanya and the generals and all that, and I'm like, why? Like, what's going on? Crunchyroll, like, did you forget to sub things? Like, what's going on there? I mean, I know you've been having problems these past couple of weeks, which it's very apparent, I mean, obviously, but now you don't even finish some of the scenes of the final episode and, like, sub it? What the fuck? Wait, what the fuck? So, I mean, I really hope it's just me. Like, I really, really hope the problem is just me. If it's just me, fine. I'll rewatch it later. But if it's not me, I don't know what to say, because that's pretty bad. That's a bad problem. I mean, yes, it's little, just a couple of subtitles and stuff here and there that's not there, but remember, at the end of the day, Crunchyroll is a professional company. They are professionals. Their actual job is to do subtitles. So, if that's not done, what the fuck? So, I wanted to point that out. So, anyways, besides that, I say I will miss the series. I had fun, and so long, Youjo Senki. May one day you receive a season 2. So let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. How'd you feel about this series? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Please be honest in the comments below. And I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.